Let's get into it now. A spoiler-free movie review of Bring Her Back from Danny and Michael Philippou, who are two Australian directors, relatively young, 32 years old. They got their start just making YouTube videos as twin brothers, just messing around, beating each other up in their backyard. And even in those early YouTube videos, you can tell that they had an eye for creating something special. There are videos where you see the behind the scenes of them as kids and like talking about like keep the cameras held still, giving direction at such a young age on things that maybe to some seemed very juvenile, like beating your brother up with some wrestling moves. I can relate to that. They made their debut with a movie called Talk to Me, which is available on Netflix now. And since then, they've been taking Hollywood by storm. After that came out, they started getting messages from their heroes like Jordan Peele. Stephen King gave them praise for that movie. And now this is something that we need in the horror genre. Two guys who just feel like they're making movies that I want to see, that nobody else is making right now, because I think when you get into horror, you can get very calculated. And by watching Bring Her Back, I can tell that they had that punk rock mentality, that YouTuber mentality of, we're going to make something that we want to see and not play to any of these rules, where I can feel the youth in this movie. And it's a good thing because you can tell that they don't have the most experience. Like, say, I would say the best horror movie of the year up until this one was probably The Monkey from Oz Perkins, who has more experience there last year with Longlegs. And this movie feels so much less calculated to that. So where it really shines is in that rawness, but now also starting to have a little bit more experience under their belt is what makes it great. I think also the fact that they are Australian, it feels really refreshing to me. So a great just 1-2 start for them, this being their second movie. And after watching it, I just feel like we haven't seen their best work yet, and this is so exciting to me. So what Bring Her Back is about, which is a movie I feel you can spoil a lot by giving away the plot details, so I'm not going to speak too much on that, but here is the description pulled from IMDb. A brother and sister witness a terrifying ritual at the secluded home of their new foster mother. So you have these two characters who just lost their father and now are at risk of being split up. The older brother has been taking care of the younger sister, who is visually impaired. And after their dad dies, they initially want to split them up, but luckily they are able to work out a deal where they can both go live with one foster parent, and then things start to get really weird. But that's really all you need to know going into this movie. Now, how scary is it? Bring Her Back really isn't that scary. It is unsettling, which at times to me is better, because this is a movie that is going to stay around. It's going to linger with you the more and more that you think about it. Like those times where I would go to the gas station to get a burrito and I'm questioning it. It's like $1.99. I'm like, do I really want this burrito? How long has this burrito been sitting at this gas station? But I'm hungry. It's cheap. I'm broke. I want to go and get that gas station burrito. I eat that burrito in about 5 minutes, but then the after effects of that burrito stick with me much longer than those 5 minutes, much longer than the value of $1.99. It hits me the next day, maybe even the day after, and then the next time I go thinking about getting another gas station burrito, I think twice. That is how I felt watching Talk to Me, where in the moment I wasn't terrified, but it was so unsettling because there were so many moments that there were things that I had never seen before in a supernatural movie that made my skin crawl a little bit, that made me just kind of cringe. And there are certain things you can put in horror movies that get me. And there were things in this one that I didn't know could get me because I hadn't seen them yet. Usually it's broken bones. In the case of Bring Her Back, there were these really violent moments that really made the film, but in no way did it just capitalize on jump scares. I don't think there were any jump scares in this movie. It comes down to great storytelling, which it did a really good job of making you care about these characters. It really invested in those first 20 minutes of, yeah, giving you some scary images, but really telling you the story of these two kids and what they are going through, and really made you care about their living situation and all the trauma that they are both dealing with, that made you want to take this ride with them, made you want to root for them throughout this entire thing, because man, does it get crazy. So that was a really important thing to do. And sometimes horror movies get it wrong because they spend so much time on this exposition trying to make you care about these characters, and it never quite connects. It connected here. And then they also created just an impeccable villain that was so bizarre and such a force that you just hated with every fiber of your being because you could not believe what they were doing. So you have the great storytelling and the great acting in a pretty limited cast. It's really these three members. You have the foster mom and the two kids, and that really makes up the entire film. Sally Hawkins plays the foster mom, which you may remember her from The Shape of Water back in 2017. She got an Oscar nomination for that movie. I think she should have won, although The Shape of Water did take home Best Picture. That is one of those Best Pictures that nobody really talks about anymore. I loved it in the moment, but it's one I don't revisit a whole lot, even though it's a great movie. She was fantastic in that, and she brought that level of acting to this movie. I heard a story that she scared all the other people on set because how committed she was to this role that had so many layers to it. Sometimes you sympathize with her, sometimes you want to throw her out a window, and sometimes you feel sad for her, and then sometimes you just all out hate her. Billy Barrett played the older brother, who was fantastic, gave a really emotional performance. His younger sister was played by Sora Wong, who this was her acting debut. She was not aspiring to be an actor whatsoever, but her mom actually came across a casting call on Facebook that was looking for a visually impaired actor. So they applied, she got the role, and she did an incredible job. She was born with a condition that left her with limited sight, but had zero experience in acting going into this film, and you couldn't really tell because she was that good in this. And what excites me about the Philippo brothers is I know that their best films are probably 5, 7, maybe even 10 years down the line. And I also don't think that they're going to do horror forever. I hear a lot of directors give their story how horror is their first love and that's what makes them want to make movies. Also, when you're young filmmakers doing things on YouTube, sometimes having a lower budget just lends yourself to making horror movies because you can take some corn syrup and some red food dye, make some fake blood. But I just think that eventually they are so good at what they do and have this artistic vision that is so uniquely them that they're going to go on to probably make another couple horror movies, but really cement themselves as these great directors who can do anything. And they've already proved that in just 2 movies. So not necessarily one you have to rush to see in theaters, although I would. But if you want to start with Talk to Me, which you can watch on Netflix, which that is about a group of teenagers who start messing with these dark spirits because they get this embalmed hand, that it all starts out as a social media challenge where they take this embalmed hand, they shake hands with it essentially, and they're able to experience and communicate with the dead, and they're all just filming it for social media. But it's kind of like that episode of SpongeBob where SpongeBob and Patrick are riding the hooks, and it's all, the fishermen fishing, so you can only ride the hook so far up before you get caught, and you have to let go to come back down. But to them, it's that experience of riding it all the way up and then riding it down. But if you hold on just a little bit too long, ooh, you're in for a world of hurt. So maybe start with Talk to Me and then give Bring Her Back a chance, because I think if you're really into horror and you haven't seen their work yet, you're gonna love it. And I think when I rated Talk to Me, I probably gave it a 4.5 out of 5, which ended up being my favorite horror movie of the year it came out. I don't like Bring Her Back as much as I did Talk to Me, just because I think the overall scary nature of Talk to Me was a little bit better, but still a fantastic movie. For Bring Her Back, I give it 4 out of 5 foster moms.